Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's definitely top of mind for a lot of people, achieving financial freedom.
hmm
But we're not just doing the usual tips and tricks. We're really zeroing in on the essential mindset shifts that can make it a reality. And honestly, it might not be what you think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got a really interesting conversation to unpack here. It's from a recent YouTube discussion, Lewis Howes talking with Jay Shetty.
Ah, yeah.
The title's Lewis Howes, This One Mindset Shift Will Make Financial Freedom Your Reality, Not What You Think. And it really pushes you to look past the surface stuff.
Right, gets into the deeper roots of, financial well-being.
Totally.
So our goal for you today is to pull out some genuinely actionable insights,
Mm.
how to cultivate this abundant mindset they talk about, no matter where you're at financially right now.
Or maybe more importantly, what are those crucial first steps?
hmm
How do you start building a healthier, more empowering relationship with your money?
Okay, let's dive in then. It's a tricky idea to get your head around, isn't it? This whole concept of feeling rich when you're really struggling financially.
It really is. It's a huge hurdle. That feeling of lack, it can just be overwhelming.
hmm
But the core idea here, it's pretty counterintuitive. The way out isn't obsessing over the lack of money. It's actually about feeling better about yourself first.
How so?
Like focusing on your values, your character, kindness, generosity, that kind of thing.
Okay, so redirecting focus from the bank account number
Hmm.
to your inherent value, and then using that to add value to others.
Precisely. It's like fostering this internal sense of richness first, with the idea that the external stuff, the money, can follow from that.
Interesting.
And that ties right into making money feel easy,
Yeah.
which I know if you're stressed about money, that sounds almost offensive.
Right, like easy. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. But the conversation tackles that head on. All the stress and anxiety that just seems to surround money for so many people. The bills, the debt, not being able to afford what you want or need.
It's that constant feeling of barely treading water.
Yeah. And they make this parallel to, like, the stress of trying to find love, that desperation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that intense focus on needing it, it can actually paralyze you,
Yeah.
make you less likely to find it, whether it's love or money.
So, okay, if that's the problem, this anxiety,
Yeah.
what's the first step out? How do you start easing that financial stress?
The very first step, according to them, is awareness. Simple, but maybe not easy.
Awareness of what exactly?
Of your own feelings and thoughts around money, when you get it, when you spend it, when you just look at it. What's your, attachment style to it?
Attachment style, like in relationships.
Kinda, yeah. Think about your body's reaction. Money comes in or a bill goes out. What happens?
Do you notice like shallow breathing? Or do you feel relaxed, anxious? Does your mind go straight to scarcity, or is there a feeling of abundance?
Exactly those kinds of cues. Notice them. When you pay a bill, check your balance. What's the immediate physical sensation? What's the first thought?
And the point isn't to judge yourself for feeling anxious, right?
Not at all. It's
Yeah.
just to get clear. Is this relationship I have with money right now, is it actually serving me? Does it feel secure, healthy?
Okay. And if the answer is, probably not, what's next?
Then the next step is digging into your personal money story.
Your money story, right.
The narrative you've built up based on your life, especially childhood.
Yeah, they really emphasize the impact of how your parents handled money or talked about it or didn't talk about it.
Were there fights about bills? Did you constantly hear about how expensive things were? Was there just this underlying tension?
Or maybe they seemed totally comfortable. Whatever it was, that atmosphere around money growing up,
Hmm.
it leaves a mark. Especially since, money issues are a huge factor in relationship stress and even divorce.
So reflecting on your specific story helps you understand your current money personality style, as they put it. Exactly. And they share some really relatable personal stories,
Yeah.
like feeling less than as a kid because your family didn't have as much stuff.
Yeah.
That can create deep insecurity later on.
Or, getting excited when you received money, but then having absolutely no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
Feeling lost.
Yeah. Or even just totally tuning out financial stuff as a teenager.
Yeah.
Maybe even if things got a bit better financially at home, it just wasn't on your radar.
Right.
And then there are the tougher stories, like hitting financial rock bottom. Lewis Howes talks about sleeping on his sister's couch after an injury ended his football career right during the 2008 downturn.
Wow, yeah. That resonates with today's economic anxieties, too.
Definitely. And that experience really drove home for him how crucial it is to find money mentors, people who can actually teach you how to receive money, how to manage it, how to spend it wisely.
Because without those tools, that knowledge, You just stay stuck in that old money story.
You do. You're just repeating patterns.
That vulnerability is really powerful. And it highlights that good intentions aren't enough. You need the practical skills.
And they also mention identifying specific money wounds. Maybe being cheated financially or even having stolen something yourself in the past. Stuff that needs healing.
Because if you don't heal it, what happens? Avoidance.
Often, yeah. The natural reaction when facing financial stress or scarcity is just not wanting to look. It's too painful.
Right. You just want to ignore the bank balance, ignore the bills piling up.
Which leads to that awful paycheck to paycheck cycle. That constant feeling of never enough.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the weight of debt. Student loans, credit cards you used for essentials, or maybe just to feel normal for a bit.
And it feels like you're trying to swim forward,
Yeah.
but you've got this anchor dragging you back. It can feel totally impossible.
Especially with everything else going on, rising costs, inflation, housing, feeling completely out of reach for so many.
Yeah, the external pressures are real.
So you have this deep desire for freedom, financial freedom, but you're carrying all this emotional baggage around money. You don't have emotional freedom.
Exactly. And the core idea they present is that achieving that emotional freedom first can actually, almost magically, allow money to flow more easily.
How does that work, though?
Well, think about it. If you're constantly anxious, constantly avoiding looking at your finances, how open are you really to receiving, to seeing opportunities?
Yeah, you're kind of closed off energetically.
Right. And Lewis shares this really honest story about hoarding money, even when he had significant savings, like millions, because he was terrified of going back to being broke.
So even with the money, he wasn't free.
Not emotionally free, no. Still trapped by that old fear, that old money story. It shows financial success isn't the whole picture if the underlying relationship with money isn't healthy.
Okay, so money is like energy influenced by our thoughts and feelings. Stress, drama, fear. That's not abundance, even if the bank account looks good.
Precisely. A high net worth doesn't automatically equal freedom. The real shift, they argue, is moving from feeling helpless to proactively being helpful.
Yeah.
That's a path to abundance.
Okay. Helpfulness.
Yeah.
But how do you start rewiring your brain for abundance when your reality feels like lack? That seems like the core challenge.
It is. And it comes down to beliefs. Our beliefs dictate our behavior.
Yeah.
So if you fundamentally believe money is bad, or rich people are greedy, or you have to struggle to be a good person.
Then you'll act in ways that keep you struggling, even subconsciously.
Exactly. You might even fear that getting wealthy would somehow make you a bad person.
Wow. Yeah, I can see how that would hold someone back. You'd miss opportunities, maybe even sabotage your own success without realizing it.
Lewis shares his own realization about this, that he subconsciously thought you had to be kind of bad or ruthless to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this was holding him back, even when he had millions of views online and other forms of success.
That internal conflict, wanting to do good, but having these negative associations with wealth, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So how do you break that? What's the mindset habit they focus on?
Generosity. That's the key shift they highlight for unlocking wealth.
Generosity. Okay, but not just writing checks, right?
Right. It's being generous with your time, your wisdom, your knowledge, even sharing your secrets to success, things people often hoard.
Because the fear is, if I share my secrets, someone else will take my spot or I'll lose my edge.
Yeah, that's scarcity thinking. But they argue that hoarding actually hinders opportunity. It closes you off.
And the message from genuinely wealthy people, they say, is consistently about having a generous mindset.
Overwhelmingly, yes.
Yeah.
That it's crucial, not just for making money, but for keeping it, and for feeling internally abundant, which is arguably more important.
So approaching interactions with curiosity, possibility, joy, especially if you're seeking advice from someone successful.
And recognizing you have things to offer besides money. Your passion, your energy, that's incredibly valuable, especially to people who might be successful but burnt out.
Okay, so being generous with your time, resources, ideas, helping others succeed without necessarily expecting something back immediately.
Yeah, Lewis gives us a great example. He had a partnership with NASDAQ. Instead of just thinking, how can I make money from this? He thought, how can I offer value?
What did he do?
He used it to interview people he admired, live on NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Huge exposure for them, their face on the Times Square billboard.
Wow, okay. That's definitely offering value.
And his motivation wasn't direct payment. It was to connect with these people, offer them something cool. And guess what?
It led to other things.
Big time. Friendships, like with Ryan Holiday.
Mhm.
It showcased his skills.
Hmm.
That eventually led to meeting Gary Vaynerchuk through someone else he connected with via that NASDAQ thing. It created ripples.
So it contrasts that scarcity mindset of I'm broke, I have nothing to offer, with an abundance mindset of how can I create value and give value right now.
Exactly. It breaks that trap of thinking, I need to get mine first, then I can give, especially when you're stressed about money.
But it's not like be generous today, get rich tomorrow, right?
Definitely not guaranteed like that.
Yeah.
But gratitude and generosity are framed as the gateway to abundance. It creates this ecosystem of mutual support, a richness that's about more than just dollars.
And again, that internal richness is key. You could have millions and still feel stressed and poor inside if you're anxious all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Money becomes a tool for opportunities, memories, being generous with loved ones, supporting causes you care about.
So paradoxically, the advice is almost when you feel the least abundant, practice more gratitude and more generosity.
Yes, even if it's just internally saying, thank you for this challenge, this opportunity to learn and grow.
And consciously appreciating money itself, like that Ken Honda exercise they mentioned, saying thank you when money comes in, and mindfully deciding how you'll use it.
And even saying thank you when money goes out, paying bills, paying off debt, appreciating what that money provided for you, that allowed you to live, to eat, whatever it was.
That sounds like a powerful practice. It shifts the energy completely.
It cultivates that internal richness, that feeling of abundance, which then, the theory goes, attracts more external abundance.
They had some other examples too, right? Like the hostess and the videographer.
Yeah, great examples. The hostess whose energy and passion were so infectious, she got offered other jobs on the spot. The videographer who just showed up and started filming an event, showcasing his talent, boom, offered collaborations.
All forms of generosity, sharing energy, talent, without asking for anything directly.
Exactly. And they even bring up psych studies on waiters. Those who introduce themselves make recommendations, compliment choices. They build connection, create positive energy, and guess what?
They get bigger tips.
Yep. It shows that energy and generosity have tangible results, like Drock editing for Gary Vee for free initially. Massive opportunity came from that initial generous act.
So it really comes down to a choice. Stay stuck in helplessness or shift into helpfulness. Bring energy, offer value, don't worry about the immediate return. Just build momentum.
That's the core message. But
Yeah.
there's also a warning, right? About achieving financial success, but still feeling trapped.
Yeah, because the underlying scarcity mindset hasn't shifted. Especially with social media, comparing yourself to everyone else's highlight reel.
True wealth, they suggest, is really just appreciating what you already have.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, they also touch on manifesting money. What's the take there?
It's presented more as setting intentions and being open to possibilities, not necessarily magical thinking, but cultivating a mindset where you notice opportunities.
Like running little experiments?
Yeah, like Lewis trying affirmations. Money comes to me abundantly and freely. I am a magnet for money. And then looking for evidence.
And he started finding pennies.
He did, which sounds small, maybe silly. But then he finds two pennies together, looks closer, and one is this super old, rare wheat penny, potentially worth way more.
Ah, so the metaphor is value and opportunity are often hidden in plain sight if you're open to seeing them.
Exactly. And connecting that back to real life. Are you putting yourself out there, reaching out to your network, offering your skills?
He mentioned earning multiple six figures quickly in a new venture just by doing that, proactively offering value.
Right. So it's intention plus offering value plus actively looking for and seizing opportunities. That seems to be the formula.
Which brings us back to that core idea of your relationship with money.
They make a really strong parallel. How's your relationship with money compared to your relationship with your body, your mind,
Yeah?
your partner?
Do you neglect it? Do you speak badly about it?
Yeah, if you constantly trash talk your partner, would they stick around? Probably not. Why treat money differently?
So the idea is to speak to and speak about money with positivity, respect, gratitude.
And that exercise they suggest. Personify money. Imagine. Money walks into the room. How do you react? Are you welcoming,
Yeah.
fearful, resentful?
That's a revealing exercise. What would your honest reaction be?
And they bring in the cultural perspective, like Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth, and the tradition of respecting even small coins. Don't step on money. Treat it with care.
Treat it like a valued guest. Show it hospitality, gratitude, maybe even be vulnerable with it. Like, okay, money, here's what I need help with.
It forces that honest reflection. How is my relationship with money right now? And how might that be affecting whether it, wants to be around.
It's about healing that relationship to create a more abundant life overall.
And getting past that more money, more problems idea. They argue the problems, the money traps, come from an unhealthy relationship with wealth, not wealth itself.
The goal is increasing self-worth alongside net worth, finding peace, being able to receive easily and give generously.
Expanding your nervous system, they say, to comfortably handle more abundance without freaking out.
Because just hoarding it out of fear, like Lewis's example, doesn't bring peace. It's still stress, still scarcity, even with money in the bank.
And that monastic teaching they shared is so powerful. God doesn't see what you give. God sees what you hold back.
Wow. That emphasizes the spirit of giving, even when it feels like a stretch. Giving generously from what you have.
And remembering giving isn't just cash, time, food, resources, listening. It all contributes to a rich life.
But without healing that scarcity mindset, you could hit all your financial goals and still feel trapped, still feel poor inside.
Exactly. Okay, so you've got this mindset shift happening.
Mm-hmm.
How does that translate into practical money management, balancing earning, spending, saving?
Right. They talk about this idea of living below your means and feeling abundant as a real form of success.
Using the Count of Monte Cristo as an example, appreciating life's simple things, even without lavish wealth.
Which is tough today, isn't it? With social media constantly showing hyperconsumption, it takes conscious effort to resist that.
It really does. They acknowledge, it's natural to desire nice things, but it's about responsibility, understanding the hit you take if you splurge on credit you can't afford.
And emphasizing saving and investing. The non-negotiables for future freedom, for sustained well-being.
Which leads into the final big point, that temptation for quick fixes.
Ah, yes. The desire for the hack, the easy button, the get-rich-quick scheme.
The ego wants it now. But sustainable wealth usually doesn't work like that.
They share stories of losing money chasing those things.
Yeah, learning the hard way. The allure of easy money, maybe risky investments or schemes, it's strong, but often dangerous.
Because the reality for most people who build lasting wealth is, what? Consistent effort, adding value over time.
Pretty much. Maybe some smart long-term investments, sure. But rarely the overnight sensation stuff. Usually it's years of work.
So distinguishing between making money quick, often a fluke or unsustainable, and making money easy.
Right. Easy comes later. As a result of developing valuable skills, building reputation, creating systems, it wasn't easy to get there.
So value the long game. Invest in yourself. Learn skills. Build confidence. That's the real currency.
And even if you're starting out, maybe using something like LinkedIn, offering help for free initially, like we discussed. Build relationships, showcase skills, then monetize. It might not be your passion project right away, but it's a stepping stone.
Using it to get financially stable enough to pursue your passion later.
Exactly. Investing that courage and confidence in yourself has lasting returns.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the main takeaway feels like this is a journey. Building a healthy relationship with money doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's ongoing work. And there's real empathy in the conversation for anyone feeling stuck trying to figure this stuff out.
And the critical point, the inner work is necessary whether you have 10 or $10 million.
Absolutely. Financial success without the inner healing won't bring true freedom or happiness. That story Lewis tells about the wealthy guy in his building who took his own life.
Yeah, that's a chilling reminder. Money doesn't solve everything. Not even close.
True wealth is really in deep relationships, connection, self-worth. And you see that generosity and gratitude theme come back again and again as key.
It seems like the most successful, fulfilled people consistently give more, even when it's uncomfortable. And somehow that seems to lead to more abundance flowing back to them.
But the giving comes from gratitude, from wanting to help, not purely as a transaction. It's a belief that it'll come back somehow, but that's not the sole driver.
It's about feeling rich inside first, abundant in spirit, and letting that support your financial life. So just to quickly recap for everyone listening, we talked about shifting from focusing on lack to nurturing internal wealth values, character, kindness, generosity.
Right. Becoming aware of your money emotions, understanding your money story, how your past shapes your present.
We looked at that cycle of stress and scarcity and how to start rewiring for abundance through beliefs and, crucially, through generosity.
Yeah, touching on manifesting through intention and openness and the absolute importance of building a healthy, respectful relationship with money itself.
And then balancing the practical side, spending, saving, investing, while avoiding those tempting quick fixes and really valuing long-term skill building and self-investment.
Ultimately, Financial freedom seems deeply tied to that inner work, recognizing that true wealth is way more than just the numbers in your account.
So, for you listening, maybe take some time to really think about your own money story, what beliefs are running the show, and consider, the power of bringing more generosity and gratitude into your life, starting small, wherever you are right now.
And here's that final thought to mull over. How might things change if you started consciously personifying money, treating it like a respected guest? And maybe even more simply, what's one small act of generosity, time, energy, a kind word, anything that you can offer today?
Great questions to sit with. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.